What's good, y'all? It's your boy Muhammad Sanu. We here live at a Trail Report. You know what I'm saying? My boy C Hill. Y'all better stay tuned. You heard? Being talk.
So the Don, Luka Doncic, as I call him, Luka legend, suffered a hamstring injury last night, and obviously the Lakers lost by 43 points as well. Luka is now out with a hamstring injury. He's getting a MRI on it to see how severe it is. He did not return to the game last night, but he did suffer a hamstring injury, which led to him obviously not returning to the game. And this is, as you guys know, I'm a Lakers fan. This is devastating. Um, but it's devastating, but it's not season ending. Um, Season's not over yet. We still have a couple games to go. I believe like 5 games to go in the regular season. So it's not the end of the world. Um, Luka was Western Conference Player of the Month in March. He was actually, for the people who say he don't play defense, he was actually nominated for Defensive Player of the Month as well. So he plays defense. He plays defense when he wants to, for sure. He definitely can turn it on at times. We had a 14-2 record in the month of March. 15-2 record in the month of March. 14-2 when Luka played. So we were rolling. We were rolling. I felt really solidified about how the team was how our flow was. I really did. I really felt confident with how the Lakers' flow was and how we were rolling into games. And even with the loss to the Thunder, if the loss to the Thunder happens, I don't mind it. These are the reigning NBA. This is the reigning NBA champions we're talking about. Okay, SGA is, talented out of this world. So listen. If we lose to the reigning champions, I'm not mad about it. Now, 43 points is devastating, but it's the reigning NBA champions we're talking about. It's a regular season game. It's not. I don't really deal with it. I don't really take it to heart like that. It's a loss. Like I said, it is what it is. We're 15-2 in the month of March. Okay, so a loss here and there, I don't mind. Okay, and I'm aware that this team is a playoff, or at least I feel like we're a playoff team. And it's crazy because I always have these conversations with my other half, and not my wife but my brother, about the Lakers, and I'm holding true on this. I believe the Lakers are a playoff team. I do. I believe we're a playoff team. I believe we're going to pick it up in the playoffs. And I believe, honestly, this team is probably built more for the playoffs. I didn't expect us to be this good in the regular season. I'll be honest. I expected us not to have to play in the play-in, obviously, but I don't really expect us to turn it on in the regular season because we have Luka Doncic, we have LeBron, we have players, and Luka and LeBron with that duo. Before I get into the rest of the team and how I feel about the rest of the team, those two players are playoff players. Luka Doncic and LeBron James are playoff players. Now, can they do their thing in the regular season? Of course. They're talented players. LeBron is my GOAT. He's my greatest player of all time. So, Luka Doncic is going to be the best player that LeBron has ever played with. When it's all said and done and his career is over and everything, he's going to be the best player LeBron has ever played with. So, but those players are playoff players. They turn it on in the playoffs. So I didn't even expect us to be this good in the regular season anyway. But for us to be rolling at this point in the season, I felt very confident about where we were, as far as where the team was and where the energy was and how I felt like we were. Even with dealing with some injuries here and there, I felt like rolling for the most part. But this happens, and this adds on to Luka's, I guess you could say, history of injuries this year. This year he's had a left finger sprain, a lower left leg contusion, which he was out 5 games for. He had a left groin, pause. He was out for 1 game with that. A left hamstring. He was out 4 games with that. And so, yeah, he's had some injuries definitely this season. But I felt good about where the Lakers were as a as a whole. But this injury happening is, I feel like not only is it bad, for, obviously on the play, playing wise, but I also kind of feel like it's bad for energy wise because anytime you're rolling and like, it's kind of like a momentum thing, right? When think about anything in your day to day life, whenever you're doing something and you have the flow of it and you have the rhythm of it, it's easy to just keep it going, right? Like easy to keep it going. You know what's gonna happen, you know what's gonna flow, you know what's gonna work, you know what's not, and you just keep it going. But when something throws you off your rhythm, it kind of, you know, even if you don't, it doesn't completely stop you, it kind of slows you down a little bit. It just happens. It's kind of like the cliche in like the NBA. Like you've been hot all night. What's the cliche you always hear the commentators and the announcers say? If they can get him to miss one, to just throw him off his rhythm. Because as long as he keeps making shots, and this is just in general, as long as the player keep making shots, it's a hot streak. He's just gonna keep going. But once you get him start missing, then a little not only does his rhythm get thrown off, but also the doubt starts creeping in a little bit because it becomes like, okay, well, I was making all these shots, so I would have been confident taking this 3-point shot, confident, with a step back three right now. Now I'm probably hesitating a little bit because I don't know if this is necessarily in my favor to go in, right? So it becomes more of a mental thing and just kind of slows your momentum down. That's the thing I think that's going to happen with this Luka Doncic injury. I feel like the energy of where the Lakers were probably took a hit because we were rolling and then, this injury happens. And then now it's like, okay, well, injury happens. So now we got to play the last couple games without Luka. And knock on wood, I hope that he doesn't miss the rest of the season. But someone who had a similar injury to Luka was James Harden when he played with Brooklyn, the KD, Kyrie, and Harden team in 2021. They had the super team in Brooklyn. And he missed over a month with a hamstring injury. So I'm thinking and I'm no medical expert, obviously. You guys know Chill is no medical expert at all. So if anyone is in the medical field, please let us know in the comments below what's going on, please. But from what I looked into, he missed over a month in Brooklyn, right? We don't have that long left to play in the season. So if Harden missed over a month, and Harden's style is kind of similar to Luka. He's more, Harden is more step back threes and, getting to the rim and stuff like that. But he's active. He turns it on. He turns it on when he wants to. He can drive when he wants to. He try to excuse me. He tries to go off from the 3-point line always. I mean, that's Harden right there. But he tries to drive to the rim when he wants to. Tries to get to the rim. Goes for layups. Tries to draw fouls. Stuff like that. Similar stuff that Luka tries to do, right? So if Harden missed over a month in Brooklyn with this injury, I think we have about maybe 5 games left to go in the regular season. The season ends, I believe, on April 12th. So if Harden missed over a month, I'm afraid that at least Luka's going to miss. I mean, best case scenario, again, I hope this is not the case, but best case scenario, maybe Luka misses. Maybe he comes back first game of the playoffs, maybe. And then the concern is, okay, he comes back first game of the playoffs. Harden wasn't, if you guys remember, you guys can go back and look at those games. The main concern when Harden came back in the playoffs was he didn't look the same. He was very cautious. He was very, very, I guess you could say, slower. And I'm not saying that Harden's the fastest player in the world, obviously, but his pace is kind of slow. He has a very calculated flow. Harden's very calculated with his flow and his dribbles and stuff like that. But he was even slower than he normally was on the court. So if that's the case, and he missed a month and he came back and he didn't look the same, Luka, after missing a couple games, I mean, naturally he's not going to look the same. Now, the main thing I've been thinking about since the injury happening, it's okay if Luka comes back. He can. I'm trying to think if he can play a way that necessarily doesn't require him to be Luka. Here's what I mean by that. If he can play in a way that somehow doesn't need him to be so aggressive. So I'm thinking if maybe he can play more on the perimeter, catch and shoot basketball. Maybe let LeBron run the show, obviously. LeBron run the show, Austin Reeves plays his role, and we just kind of use Luka as like a three-point sniper. Because with a hamstring injury, I don't know if anyone's even had a sore hamstring before, but if you have had a sore hamstring before, you know how it feels. And fortunately for me, I've never knock on wood, I've never tore or pulled a hamstring, right? But even with a sore hamstring, you know it's not as easy to push off, right? So if we can somehow just make Luka a catch and shoot player and let LeBron run the show, let Austin Reeves run the show, as far as they can handle the going to the rim, and they can handle going to the rim and driving and drawing fouls and stuff like that. We have DeAndre Ayton, who hopefully can hold down the paint. If we can do that, I'm feeling better about our chances, because at least if we do that, Luka isn't risking necessarily getting hurt worse, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong on that. Like I said, I'm no medical expert, but if we use him as just a catch and shoot player, I don't think he'll be risking getting hurt more, more than he already is. So I think that might be the best case scenario that we can go for and shoot for. Now, I don't know what J.J. Redick has planned. We shall see. Now, before this injury, Luka was obviously leading the league in points. Luka's averaging 33 points a game this year. So Luka is going ham and cheese this year. No over exaggeration on that. Luka is going crazy this year. That's no surprise. He goes crazy every season. I mean, Luka is, and I'm talking about from Dallas. This is not even him being on the Lakers. I'm just saying him as a player. Luka is one of the most exciting players, in my opinion, to watch in the league, because it might look like Luka had maybe like 27 points. You go look at the box score, Luka had like 53, and it just be like, I didn't even notice. That's what makes him that's what is the thrill about watching Luka Doncic. But he was leading the league in points this year, and rolling through, obviously leading the league, rolling through games as I said before. We had a 14-2 record when he played every time he played in March. So I felt very confident about where we were. But now with this injury happening, it's the confidence as far as probably the team. Obviously, I don't know anyone in the team to know if this is true or not. But I don't know anyone in the team to know if it's true or not. Excuse me. But I would naturally think that the team energy has shifted a little bit, because now, like I said, you don't have that safety valve anymore. Like, you're going into the playoffs with a healthy Luka Doncic and a healthy LeBron James. You should be confident going into any matchup. But now Luka is, I mean, I said he'll come back. At least I hope he will. First game of the playoffs, but we don't know. We don't necessarily know if that's the case. Luka could be out. I mean, God forbid, knock on wood, but what if this MRI comes back and it says like Luka's out at least to the second round? Now we have to shift our whole game plan. We have to. Now, fortunately, we have LeBron James, so it's not a bad shift. But so that's a good thing in our favor. But we have to shift our entire game plan to, okay, we have to shift it. Okay, obviously it's going to be focused more around LeBron. Okay, So now we have to shift our game plan. Then JJ has to get rotations back in order. We got to figure out who's gonna play, who's gonna not. You shorten the rotation in the playoffs, so it's gonna be he has to think about that. Who's gonna play more because Luka's out. So it's gonna be so many things that we have to think about. Now the fortunate thing in this is that, like I said, we have about 5 games left of the regular season. Okay, so with that, I have a great understanding, or at least to my understanding, this is how I would use the games if I was JJ Redick. Use these 5 games to get some understanding about how this potential playoff rotation is going to work now, because Luka might be out. LeBron is obviously going to be your guy, your go-to guy. Luka's going to be out. So these last 5 games, use these games to see, okay, what's the potential playoff rotation without Luka going to look like? Because with this hamstring injury, like I said, Harden missed over a month with this. So if Luka just got hurt last night, we got a long way to go. If he has a similar type of strain to Harden, we have a long way to go before we see Luka back on the court. So I don't know how it's gonna work, but I mean, hopefully JJ has something planned. He figures it out. So this is what they brought JJ Redick in for. They thought he was a great coach. They thought he was a coach that can handle the pressure of coaching in LA and handling the pressure of the media and everything like that, the expectations, all of that. And I can tell JJ Redick one thing. I know he played with with the Clippers and everything, but that Lakers pressure is a whole different monster. And I'm pretty sure he already knows that from last year, but it's a whole different monster. So, and I know Luka got hurt, but Laker fans, they probably ain't going to be worried about that too much. They going to say, oh yeah, Luka got hurt, but you still had LeBron. You still had DeAndre Ayton. You still had Austin Reeves, who's been getting a lot of praise. So, you still had these players, so Lakers fans probably going to be like, they need you to make something happen. They get that Luka's out and they get that, everything is what it is, but you still got LeBron. So they, unfortunately, JJ, you're not going to be able to just roll over and be like, hey, I mean, it is what it is. You ain't going to be able to do that. This ain't the Clippers. So hopefully JJ has something figured out. But I will use these 5 games to figure out my rotation over these next couple 5 games to see what our potential playoff rotation is going to look like, because Luka's out. It doesn't look, from the look of the injury, it doesn't look like he's can be fully ready to go in 5 games. Yeah, I mean, playoff time and everything like that. Fully ready to go game 1, he gonna be back to Luka Doncic 100%. It doesn't look like that. I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like that. Now, if he is great, wonderful, let's get back to business. That's wonderful. But I'm just being honest, it doesn't look like that's the case. But I have complete trust that Luka will make his way back in the time that he feels best. I would make a prediction as far as if he's going to come back faster, or is he going to take more time than Harden. I would probably guess the same amount of time as Harden, probably about, if it's a strain, probably a month, or at least somewhere close to that, because I mean, you can't push off. Now, if Luka absolutely just is not taking no for an answer and he just wants to play, like I said, use Luka, in my opinion, as a perimeter scorer and just let him just be a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, because that's the best way, in my opinion, to keep him from not getting further hurt and just still having the threat of Luka Doncic out there. But the positives of this, you still have LeBron, still got the King, still got Austin Reeves, still got DeAndre Ayton. So figure it out, make something happen. We got Luke Kennard also on the 3-point shots. So figure it out, JJ, make something happen, and we shall see. But this is extremely unfortunate that the Don Luka legend is out of the lineup, man. So this is extremely devastating. But hey, JJ, make something happen though, because if not, you're gonna be stressing like a construction worker behind schedule. And I'm just being honest with you. So it just is what it is. So But yeah, Luka, wish you the best. See you back very shortly. And yeah, Lake Show and Fold is all I got to say.